Hi everyone, in this video we'll be looking into a game between Grandmaster Hans Niemann and Grandmaster Lena Dominguez Perez from the round 3 of US Chess Championship 2024. Let's jump right into the game. Hans Niemann, starting with the white pieces, go for 1 e4. Perez replies with e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to c4, bishop to c5. Hans goes for castling, knight to f6, d3, d6, c3. Perez goes for castling. Rook to e1, a5, h3, h6, knight on b to d2, bishop to e6, bishop to b5, bishop to b6, knight to c4, bishop to c5, bishop to a4, bishop takes on c4, d takes on c4, knight to h5, g4, knight to f6, g5, h takes on g5, bishop takes on g5, queen to c8, king to h2, knight to h7, rook to g1, queen to e6, rook to g2, knight to e7, bishop to d2, knight to g6, queen to e2, queen to f6, rook to g4. So after 22 moves into the game, match is pretty much balanced. So the right continuation here for Dominguez Perez is to move his king to h8, but instead he will go for c6, and this is a mistake. And now Hans Niemann is having a small advantage of plus 1.1, and he continues with rook on h to g1, king to h8, bishop to c2, bishop to b6, rook on 1 to g2, and here Niemann is having an advantage of plus 1.3, so the right continuation for Perez is to put his queen to e6 or even to play rook on a to e8. Both these two options are pretty much fine, but instead he will go for bishop to d8, and this is a mistake. And after this move, Hans Niemann's advantage increased further to plus 1.9, and he continues with c5, d takes on c5, h4, c4, h5, knight to e7, rook takes on g7. So here Perez have an option to trade off his queen for both these rooks. He chooses to keep his queen on the board and he play rook to g8 instead. And Niemann continues with rook on 7 to g3, b5, knight to g5, knight takes on g5, bishop takes on g5, queen to e6, queen to f3. So here, after 33 moves into the game, Hans Niemann is having a winning advantage of plus 2.2. So in order to minimize the damage here, the right move for Lena Dominguez Perez is to move in king to h7. But in the game, he go for knight to c8, and this is a huge mistake. And after this move, Niemann is having a dominant winning advantage of plus 5.4. Now this is a very critical junction in this match, and Niemann was able to find the best move at this position, which is bishop to f6 with check, sacrificing this bishop. Once Perez accepts this sacrifice, now Perez is upon 3 points of material. Once Perez accepts this sacrifice, then Niemann will play rook takes on g8 with check. He tried off that bishop for the rook. And the only move for king is to move king to h7. And here Hans Niemann will show off with his brilliancy by moving rook to e8. And it was in this position after 36 moves into the game, Lena Dominguez Perez resigned to Hans Niemann. The reason for resignation is pretty much interesting actually. Actually, it is confusing for most of the people to understand why Perez resigned exactly. Here Niemann is sacrificing a full rook, and the queen can easily go gobble up this rook if you want. But the problem is, once queen go and accept this sacrifice, then there is a forced mate in 3 moves, and it begins with queen to f5 with check, king to h6, queen takes on f6 with check, king to h7, and queen to g7, checkmate. And the best continuation actually in this position is not to accept the sacrifice. Instead, it is to block this threat by moving the knight to e7 and giving up the rook. And either way, the game is dead lost for Dominguez Perez. So for saying that, Dominguez Perez resigned to Hans Niemann after this brilliancy.